Hello, and welcome back to Zenin Fanfics. Today we're starting an exciting new series. What if Deku had powerful dragon quirk? If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe for more content. The story we're featuring is written by GiovanniPolder on Wattpad. You can find all the relevant links in the description, so be sure to check out the author's profile and say hello. Now let's dive into the story. We hear soft snoring and a slight bump in the light green covers. The person was sleeping peacefully as the sun peeked inside the room. Lighting the room up, it showed a single bed, a nightstand with a simple alarm clock on the floor. A set of shorts lay crumpled on the floor, right next to a set of small socks. The person kept sleeping until a loud, dreadful sound started ringing. The alarm right next to the bed started going off. Without a hand popping out the cover, the person sleeping used their quirk to drop a small pink ball. Right on the snooze button, the covers were thrown off, and it showed a young, green-haired woman, eyes slightly closed as she was still tired. She looked over at the alarm, showing it was only 5 a.m. She yawned as she got up, went out of her bedroom into a slightly bigger room. A singular couch, a small box TV, and table were placed. She walked right into the kitchen, again very empty. She opened a fridge, showing it had very little food. She grabbed a plate with sandwiches. She had pre-made this the night before, eating her breakfast quickly. She started getting ready for work. It was the same thing she did 6 days a week. It was a horrible job, but thankfully she got enough money to take care of herself and save up. It also was one of the only jobs that didn't ask too much about quirks, which was her trouble, as she got dressed in her neat skirt and dress shirt with a blazer. Come on, Inko, you got this. Just say the same thing you said before like you always do. Just a simple, weak, telekinetic quirk, that is it. Inko told herself around the corner of her job. She walked in, a big smile on her face like always. Hello, everyone. She greeted everyone else, giving their own version of a greeting as Inko took her seat behind the front desk. Hey, MidoRyuu, how about it? Want to get on a date with me? Like I have said before, Moho, I am not looking to date anyone right now. You're a nice man, but not interested. Inko was glad he asked. She knew, the second everyone knew her quirk, that would stop, meaning she still had her cover intact. Inko, much like her mother before her and her grandfather before her, had a dragon quirk, which meant hatred. It was the sad reality for some. If your quirk was seen as an evil, scary quirk, you would just be met with hatred. Her grandfather was nearly killed in an attack. Inko hated it, so she hid it. Her quirk allows her two things. She could use small telekinesis when in human form, but if she lets her anger go, she turns into a small, bus-sized dragon with far more telekinetic firepower. This went on for weeks, until one day, Inko was fired. They found out her real quirk. First day, she was shunned. Lunch was alone, not being asked out on a date, no friendly smiles inside. Then day 2, she was fired. She sat at the bar, a glass of rose in front of her. Poor work ethic, my butt, just stupid idiots, all of them. She grumbled as a tall, dark-haired man took the seat next to her. Oi, barkeep, a double scotch for me, and a rose for the lady. She looked over. Are you sure about that? Inko sneered a little with the man, giving a chuckle as the drinks were placed. Oh, now I am. He smiled. Hisashi. And who might you be? Inko gave a laugh as the man gave his first name. Kana. Both started talking and drinking, the night burning short like a lit candle. At 3, the two drunk adults stumbled out toward a nearby motel room, one Hisashi bought for the night, where they had a singular night of love, one that in 9 months brought to earth a healthy, strong boy, Inko named Izuku MidoRyuu, one she hoped, prayed for, to have the quirk of his father, whoever he was. With Izuku on the way, Inko had moved, going to a new town where her cover was intact, where she was just Inko MidoRyuu, a weak quirk user. Went to work Oswell, this time using her saved money as a startup to make her own company, one that sold art, one that got her a great income, nothing that would make her rich, but she was able to live with her child, give him all that he wanted. She walked into her living room. Just having finished a new commission from customer, she moved into the kitchen where she cleaned her hands. Izuku sat at the table, drawing happily, just like his mother. Izuku liked drawing. Inko sat across from the 3-year-old boy. She saw that he was roughly pressing into the paper, going right into the table. "Izuku, what are you doing?" She slightly yelled as he was ruining the table. Inko pulled out his stuff, his crayons, papers, and he was sent to his room for the afternoon. Inside his room, Izuku was throwing a tantrum, angry at the fact he wasn't allowed to draw more. Just because of his silly table, Izuku, for a little bit, started storming back and forth. It was there that he started throwing his own stuff in the room. "Dumb mommy, not letting me draw. I just want to draw." He started yelling as he threw stuff around. Slowly, a transformation started. The skin on his forearms slowly started turning rougher. Slight parting as it turned a black dark green color, much like his hair. His nails grew slightly longer and with a point. His teeth turning sharper as his eyes turned into slits. Izuku's quirk took effect a year before it normally should have, and it allowed Izuku to completely destroy his room. It didn't take long before Inko burst inside the room, her face filled with fear and despair, as Izuku was slowly rampaging inside his room. Inko didn't care about the stuff. She could buy new stuff, but his reputation. Inko ran to the window to close the curtains, but to her shock and fear, a couple of teenagers stood there, phone out, filming Izuku's dragon transformation. "Villain!" they screamed as they ran away. Inko hoped, because it was a shitty phone and a kid yelling it, they could escape the wrath of society. Inko went and calmed her son. She wrapped her arms around Izuku's body and started whispering into his ears. "Calm down, Izuku. It's me, your mommy. Calm down, my little hero. Please, mommy is sorry. Just calm down, baby." Her hand went through his hair. Her nails scratched his scalp softly, taking him out of his anger fit. His eyes turned back to normal. His skin turned back into his normal skin. "Mommy, what was that?" Izuku asked, confused. As for him, it was like everything turned black for him. His animalistic instinct running rampant. "Don't think about it. Izuku, forget about what just happened. Don't tell anyone what just happened." Izuku didn't understand it. He had no idea why his mother wanted to hide what just happened. Inko moved him back into the living room, where she started closing every window, curtain, door, anything that people could use to look inside. Her worst nightmare had come true. The thing she didn't want to happen, happened. She sat on her knees in front of Izuku. Izuku was on the couch, still confused, but Inko was about to explain everything, about to explain why she wants this to stay hidden. She had a saddened smile on her face, and as she took a deep breath, she spoke. "Izuku, what just happened was your quirk." Izuku smiled, now totally confused why she wanted to keep it hidden. He had his quirk, the first one in his class, the first one from his friends. "Izuku, we have a quirk that is seen as evil, as a villain quirk." Izuku frowned, not understanding what she meant. "We have a dragon quirk, Izuku, one that people find scary, and we get judged by the looks. It's the sad reality. Some don't try and fight." Izuku didn't hear it, but Inko spoke with anger. While a dragon quirk was rare, it wasn't unheard of. Sadly, over the years, there have been quirked villains that had a dragon transformation, one that caused everyone else to feel hatred. "So for us, Izuku, so we can stay here happy, don't tell anyone, you don't have your quirk yet." Izuku nodded. He didn't want to, but if his mommy asked, he would. "Izuku promises me." "I will, mommy. I don't have my quirk yet." Inko grabbed his head and gave a massive kiss. "I love you, Izuku, and mommy is really happy and proud." Izuku smiled, sadly unaware of the pain he was about to go through. It didn't take a week before the assault happened. It started slow. A couple of teens threw an egg against the house, and Inko's garden stomped. Some graffiti against the walls, written in bright red paint. "F off villains. Die villains. Eat shite idot." But it quickly turned into worse actions. Stones were thrown at the house, her car tires were slashed, and even death threats. That was just the house. Thankfully, Inko was able to keep selling paintings, but the rest of their lives were ruined. Izuku was bullied. He was hated by everyone in his school. It started with people not talking to him, the occasional push, snarky comments, to quickly all the students even attacked Izuku from time to time. And while Izuku hoped and believed the teachers cared for him, they did the opposite. The teachers ignored him fully. They give him extra homework, punished him for small vaults. They removed his breaks. This went on for one entire year. Izuku begged his mother not to move, as he didn't want to leave his friends behind. But then it happened. The one thing Inko feared. They almost were killed. It was around 10 at night. Inko was on the couch reading some of the nearby news. Izuku was already deeply asleep when a group of adults threw a Molotov against their house. Right through the window, Inko easily, with a telekinetic blast, removed the fire. That, however, wasn't what they wanted. They wanted to be done with the villains. They wanted the villains to die. The two that had ranged quirks started firing through the building. Inko screamed in fear as she sprinted to her son's room and jumped on top of him, protecting him from the garage and creating a small force field around them. Izuku woke up in fear. His mother was on top of him, tears in her eyes as she cried. And Mommy, what was going on? Izuku, just stay quiet. I will be over soon. It thankfully was the case. Heroes showed up. Not that they cared for Inko or Izuku. Villain quirks were villain quirks, but they were there for the surrounding houses in case they had problems. This was the last straw for Inko. She threw the heroes out of her house, telling them to get away. The leading hero of the area gave an offhand villain comment. Inko started packing right away. She filled whatever bag they had with clothing and school supplies for Izuku. In the end, they had Izuku's back bag and 2 boxes filled with clothing, nothing else. They weren't able to carry more. They went into the subway. Thankfully, nobody was in it at 6 in the morning. They went to Tokyo, where Inko rented a car, where she drove into the north, a small house that was an administration of sorts. She walked into Izuku, still sleeping in the car. An older woman, with long hanging white rabbit ears, sat at the front of the table. Hello, how can I help you? I heard of a place for those with less fortunate quirks. Inko was moved to the back of a room. The older, bunny-quirked woman walked in, her face hard to read for Inko. She sat down in front of Inko. Sorry for the wait, miss. I just had to make sure you were who you said you were and had what you said we had. Inko understood. She didn't want to bring trouble. She just wanted the same as everyone there, to be free of hatred and pain. Now then, Miss Inko MidoRyuu, please tell me a little about yourself. Inko nodded, taking a deep breath as she began to talk. She went over all things she could, her childhood, the hate she endured, her line of friend about her quirk, and the most important thing, what she had been doing for a while, her life, and it then went to Izuku, the sun in her life, the joy she needed, the spark behind her eyes. How he came to be, how he got a dragon quirk, how he was attacked and hated by his friends, and how they just ran away after being nearly killed, nearly burned and shot to death. The bunny woman was in tears at the story. She had heard a lot of stories, and after hearing so many stories, she was able to hear the difference between lies and truths, and Inko was speaking the truth. It hurt what she went through with. The bunny woman sadly had gotten some hate, but compared to what Inko went through, it was nearly nothing. Just relax, I will make some calls. My son, can he come inside? The bunny woman nodded as Inko quickly grabbed the still sleeping Izuku. He was going through something Inko would call the dragon's rest. She had it when she turned 16, but it seems Izuku was something else. For her, it was a week-long sleep that awakened her dragon instincts fully, a better sense of smell, and a need for shiny things. To get a hoard, that or Izuku was just extremely tired and sleeping, which was also possible. Being scared for your life and running away could do that. While Inko looked at her sleeping son, hoping this was able to go through, that her son was finally able to get a real, happy life, a life he deserved, one she wanted to provide for him. The bunny woman was named Beatrix Usujiyama, mother of Haru, Usujiyama, and grandmother of Rumi, Usujiyama. She at the moment was calling with the head of the town, which was her daughter's wife. Hey Tsuryu, I have a family that I believe should be allowed in. Oh okay, tell me about them. It's a young woman between 20 and 30, named Inko MidoRyuu. She has a 5-year-old son, named Izuku MidoRyuu. Both have a dragon quirk, which got them a bunch of hatred, and only last night, they were almost murdered. I see. Have Bob take a look at them. If he accepts, they are allowed. When Beatrix came back in, she had Bob with them. Bob was a man that looked to be 500 years old. He was walking with his back bent, a wooden cane, and a long gray beard and thin, yet still long mustache. Hello there, young ones. I am Bob. head of the police department. He looked them over once, walking softly, only the sound of his wooden cane tapping the floor heard. It looked like it, oh no. He fell, with Inko just using her quirk to stop him from tilting over. The man slammed the cane down, and with a triple forward flip, he landed on the top of a single chair, just leaning on one foot. Inko was confused as this old, nearly dead-looking man had just done a move that she would call impossible. I see you are confused. I am sorry about that, but I am Bob, and I am 87 years old. I am a world-renowned martial artist that moved here for my great-grandson. The man said, making Inko, who was still shocked, nod. Now follow me, then. I shall bring you toward the house you will be staying at. What? You're accepted. The man stayed quiet for the rest of the trip, not answering any questions that Inko had as they drove. The drive took a single hour, which was very uncomfortable for Inko as she had no idea what the hell was going on. But as they drove, they reached it, an appealing city that looked absolutely normal. It was then that they started seeing the people. Inko gasped. Dozens of people, mostly those that looked evil, demons, massive shark men, and scissor hands. It was something else completely. Yes, kiddo, you're free here, and don't worry, we are a close but friendly community. He drove them to a small, two-bedroom building. Here, this will be where you will be staying, and don't look surprised when people drop by. They are a curious bunch. The man laughed, just as Inko pulled Izuku out of the car. It was then that he woke up. What's going on, Mommy? Nothing, baby, we just got home, that's all. Izuku nodded as he closed his eyes again. Inko placed Izuku inside, which was when she went for the rest of the stuff, all the stuff they had left. Nothing more than a couple of boxes with clothing, drawing supplies, and toys. But as she walked out, 6 people were standing there, 2 men holding the stuff, 2 women holding boxes of food, and 2 kids, 1 purple-haired boy and a pink-skinned girl with yellow horns. Hey, get away, that is my stuff. Inko screamed, scared they were stealing, only for the group to laugh. Sorry, we are your neighbors, we just wanted to help. The woman near the pink-skinned girl gave her husband the box. Her husband, being a 3-meter-tall, broad devil-like man, was able to carry it. She walked up to Inko and offered her, sorry, I am Alicia Shido. People call me AA. That is my husband, Hendrik. Don't worry about him. He is a sweetheart. That is my little girl, Mina. Those are the Aizawas. The father, Shota. He is barely here thanks to his job. That is his sister, Chi-Chi. She takes care of him most of the time. Oh, hi. Inko blushed, having jumped to a conclusion. We heard of Haru that we could expect some new guests. Now we know it could be a little weird coming here, so we just got you some stuff to make you feel welcome. Aizawa walked up. To Inko, he looked rather scary. If you ever need help, just ask. Chi-Chi chopped him on the head. Don't get too close. Creep, you look scary that way. We heard you also had a little son, so we brought our kids. Oh, he is sleeping at the moment. I understand. Don't worry. Take your time and get used to everyone. Just remember, we are here to help. With this, Inko was left alone. Shota and Diablo did place the stuff inside and gave a goodbye to her as they went home. It was then that Inko was able to relax. They were strange. Shota, Aizawa, a very tired-looking man with red pupils, black long hair, black clothing, and a white scarf around his neck. His sister, a woman, the opposite of her brother, short bright hair, looking happy and energized, her eyes white. The son, with purple hair, looks just like his father, but his hair is upward, also looks tired. Then the other, the father, was 3 meters tall, broad-looking, with 2 black horns growing from the top of his head. His wife, a shorter, red-skinned woman, hair tied in a nice bun, with their daughter, a pink-skinned, pink-haired little girl, 2 small yellow horns popping out her head. Inko looked at the stuff given. Fresh bread, milk, vegetables, rice, fish, cereal, and fruit. It had a lot. Inko smiled with a tear escaping as she looked at the slowly waking Izuku, ready to tell him about the new place they might just be calling home for the rest of their lives. The others were already going crazy. They were excited about the new guest. Inko was a appealing woman with a sweet, loving area around her, one that would get people to want to know more about her. Some other families want to talk with the 2 families to get a grip on Inko and Izuku. Come on, AA, give me some info about them. A blonde woman with reptilian eyes and a snake-like tongue asked. "MidoRyuu, please, when they feel up to it, they will seek us out, but right now, let's just give them some room." Izuku had just woken up and was looking outside, his head barely peeking out from the top of the window, trying to stay hidden as he kept looking out. Inko was in the same room ordering stuff they were going to need. It was weird for Izuku. Each family that walked by waved and smiled. It was something Izuku barely remembered people doing that before. "Mommy, why are they acting so nicely? They hate us, right?" Inko didn't know how to answer that. That was exactly what she would have thought, but they looked truly friendly and helpful. "I think these people are just really nice." Izuku smiled. Mommy, can I play in the yard? Please, fine, but be careful. Don't leave the garden yet." Izuku nodded happily as he grabbed his ball from the backpack and ran to the garden. He started throwing it against the wall and catching it again. The first couple of times went great, but then the ball flew out of the garden. Without thinking, Izuku went and grabbed it, only for a car to drive in his path. It could have turned out badly, if not for a white scarf to wrap around Izuku's body and him to be thrown up in the air. He yelled in shock and fear. He was caught by Aizawa, who had a soft smile on his face, only to be punched hard by Inko, whose eyes turned to slits. "Don't touch my son." Aizawa got back up, scarf loose and face relaxed. He fully understood her feelings. "I just saved him. I wasn't trying anything, I swear." Aizawa walked down the road after looking at both sides, where he grabbed the ball, again walking back slowly and placing the ball in front of Izuku. "Be careful, kid. Don't want to get hurt and make your mommy sad, right?" "Why, yes, sir, sorry." Izuku was scared to look Aizawa in the eyes, being taught that thanks to his teachers. Aizawa raised his hand, and Izuku flinched, expecting to be hit, only to feel a soft head pat. "Just be careful next time." He stood up looking at Inko with a soft smile. "Sorry for the scare." He gave a small bow before walking back again. Izuku went back to playing, and Inko went to hover, not losing sight of Izuku. They stayed like that for the day, with no problems at all. The night's sleep was peaceful, nearly perfect for them. The second day, Inko allowed Izuku to play in the playground, one with other kids. Aldo was super friendly and willing to play with him, allowing Izuku to use their toys or allowing him to join on games, all while Inko started slowly befriending the moms. "Hey, you're the new girl, right? I am Mika." A woman the same age as Inko said with a cup of coffee. She offered her hand, and Inko was quickly able to see her quirk had something to do with ears, as both her earlobes were earphone jacks. "Come join us. We have been talking about this cute little painting shop online. They make really cool stuff." Inko nodded, a little unsure what was going on, but she was happy to try and befriend these new people. While Inko was making conversation with a new housewife from around the neighborhood, Izuku was playing on his own. He was kicking the ball back and forth against the fence, that really being the only playmate he had for years. It was his best friend, one that never got tired playing with him. So he kicked the ball and it went back to his feet, allowing him to kick again. But because it was a new wall when he kicked again, the ball rolled away from him into a group of other kids. One Izuku was far too scared to ask for his ball back. He had learned from experience, then if the ball was near them, it turned into their ball. Or he got his but kicked, so he dropped his head and went to find a stick to play with instead. But then, something happened he really didn't expect. "Hey, here's your ball back." A pink-skinned girl he had yet to meet walked up to him with the ball in her hands. She had a super bright smile on her face, shocking Izuku to his core. Why you're not taking the ball yourself?" She cocked her head. "No, why would I? It's your ball, right?" She dropped the ball and offered her hand. "I am Mina Ishido. Want to play with me and my friends?" "WA, do you want to play with us? We always want to play with more people. You're not going to bully me or beat me up." She shook her head. "Come, it's fun. I will introduce you." She grabbed his arm and pulled him with her, giving a friendly laugh as she walked up. "Guys, I got a new friend." She yelled to the others, who all turned and looked at them. "Okay, these are my friends. That is Hitoshi. He is really sleepy all the time, but also fun when awake. Then, that is Kyoka. She likes music." Kyoka was a girl with short, dark purple hair, with small earphone jacks sticking out from her hair. "That is Rumi. She acts really tough, but is a crybaby." Not Mina, stop lying, or I will fight you." A white-haired girl, with 2 large bunny ears, said, tears already showing up. "Mina, stop bullying Rumi. She is just sensitive." The next girl said this one had short blonde hair and 3 spikes of sorts styled on the side of her head. That is Ryuko. We have more, but they didn't come today, so still want to play with us. Am I allowed? Don't you hate me because of my quirk? We don't even know your quirks, and we aren't like the meanies outside, are really? Mina nodded. My quirk melt stuff. I'm just not very good with it yet, but I will be. Oh, outside. Izuku asked, not knowing what this really was. But Hito can control people when he talks to them. Last week he made Kyo do this silly dance, which was really funny. Kyo herself has those cool jacks, like she can listen to music with it. It's cool. She also stabs with it when you get super close. Rumi has a rabbit quirk like those super cute ears show. That is Ryuko. She has a dragon quirk, but she isn't evil like those silly outsiders say. She is super nice. Mina said happily as Izuku just stood there shocked about these evil quirks. One even much like himself. He gave a quick look to his mother, who was looking right at him. She gave him a nod, showing he could tell them to be a kid. Well, I also have a dragon quirk. I have only used it a couple of times at home, though, so I don't know a lot about it yet. And my name is Izuku MidoRyuu. Mina looked at him seriously, which got Izuku very scared for a second. You're Izuku from now on. Izuku didn't know what to think. The only ones to have ever given him a nicknames were his mom and Bakugo. But Bakugo did it as an insult, while his mom, of course, did it out of love. WY. Mina just shrugged as they skipped to Kyoka. Tag, you're it. She then started sprinting away as fast as he could, with Kyoka chasing behind her. Shinso walked past Izuku. Ignore the nickname. She does it to everyone, as a show of friendship. Shinso then went to lay on top of the swing set, half asleep, with Izuku looking around, with Kyoka walking up to him. Tag, you're it. She then ran away, leaving Izuku confused, as he had never played tag before. And what should I do? Wait, we are playing tag. Izuku nodded. Yeah, what is that? Oh, run after us and tag someone when you're it. Okay. Izuku nodded as he started running, which was when the kids noticed it. Izuku was fast. The only one slightly able to outrun Izuku was Rumi with her rabbit legs. You're like super duper fast. Mina sat on the floor, breathing heavily. I'm sorry. Izuku said, thinking it was a bad thing. Don't be sad. That will be super useful when we play Ding Dong Ditch. Mina giggled, making Izuku give an unsure laugh himself. But he was feeling great. He started enjoying himself more and more, all those silly, weird games. But they didn't just do stuff they wanted, they even played with the ball a little. It is exactly what Izuku found enjoyable. It was the game he played most himself. But now with other kids, he was able to play games with others. It was like a whole new game, plus everyone was super nice. He didn't know how to react. It got Izuku happy and excited for the next day, because Ryuko said that if he would come tomorrow, he could meet the rest of the kids of the area, all just as friendly and all just and cool as the ones he had already met. When it was time to go home, both Inko and Izuku had gone through a whole new experiment. Inko had gotten friends that knew she was a dragon quirk user. They were friendly with her, and when she told them she was the artist they were talking about, they were starting to talk about getting stuff for a discount. It was new for Inko, but she liked it. But the best part was Izuku's smile, his pure, untempered smile of joy that was addictive like hard drags. And for the first time, Izuku spoke about his friends. He was still a little bad at names, as he never had to be reminded of names before. They never wanted him to say their names, it got them mad. But now he was happily talking to her, and he wanted to get to bed. The sooner he slept, the sooner he was able to meet new friends and play more games. But sadly, they had to have dinner first. Katsudon, Inko's specialty. Of course, Inko and Izuku had no idea in knowing that on the other side, they were just as excited. Mina was bouncing up and down. She was screaming and running, wanting to invite Izuku for a sleepover and a movie, or dinner, or a play date, or anything else that could allow her more time with her new friend. Mina always was an excited young lady, and new friends just meant more excitement. But the mothers were also talking about Inko and Izuku. Both looked like they would be perfect fits. The mayor of the city had been hearing all about it from her daughter Rumi. She was really excited about Izuku, who was super strong, which forced Rumi to be better. Because that was Rumi's goal, to be the strongest and the best. She was so during all the games. During tag, she had to be the hardest to tag, and the best tagger. During hide and seek, she had to be hardest to find. so hard they almost gave up. And when she was the Seeker, the game had to be short, but now, with Izuku, it gave her a challenge, something to improve, even harder for her and with. The others also really enjoyed their new friend Izuku, but nighttime came soon enough, allowing them all to sleep and start a new day. Only for Inko to have to deal with something she had never needed to before. Izuku wanted to play outside. It was new for Inko, and she really didn't know the playtime hours. So she gave Izuku his breakfast, dressed him for the weather, and sent him out. Big smile on his face, he went to the playground that was just around the corner, but nobody was out. It was still really early for everyone. So Izuku stood outside, dropping the soccer ball and starting to kick it around alone. Thankfully, the rest of the kids didn't come out much later, leaving Izuku only around 30 minutes. "Hey, Izuku, look, these are my other friends," Mina cheered as she showed up with a couple of new faces. "Hi," Izuku said, unsure, but as the group stood there, Mina started talking. "So, this is Izuku, and he has a dragon quirk that is really cool. Boo, but you haven't seen it." Mina smiled. "But you're super cool, so." This made Izuku smile as he looked down. Now, then, Mina started walking to the group and started pointing at people. "That is Himiko. She likes BLD, and can turn into people with that BLD. It's really funny." She then pointed to the next one. "That is Tokoyami. Although he looks like a bird, he doesn't like birdseed. Hi. But he does have a shadow friend. But when the sun is out, he can't come and play." Next to him is Jiroda, but everyone calls him Sure. He is hairy. And the last is Juzo. He is able to make everything soft. That is them all. "Now let's play." Mina screamed as she ran to Izuku, kicking the ball away. The rest started running Oswell, going to play soccer. They had the time of their lives. The last 2 years of pure hell Izuku had to sit through were gone. Every single moment of pain and suffering shot away like kicking a ball. "Zuku, you score the ball. You got it." Izuku had the ball on his foot, and he kicked it, Rumi in the goal, on her face pure determination to stop the ball. Izuku kicked it. The ball shot right to the middle with a curve, causing Rumi to accidentally jump to the side, scoring the goal. And while Izuku didn't know how to react, his new friends were cheering. This went on for a while. Izuku slowly grew older, but as time passed, more people joined the community, not all being seen as evil quirks, but all being new friends. "Hey, Rumi, have you seen that new TV show?" Izuku said as he was kicking the ball up, repeatedly waiting for his friend to show up. "Kick it over." Izuku kicked it back, walking to the soccer goal, which started them to play, Rumi trying to score and Izuku trying to block it. "Still want to be a hero, huh?" The 8-year-old Izuku nodded. "Yeah, I do. All the heroes I met before were bad. They didn't care about saving people." Rumi agreed. Most just didn't care about villainous quirks. Even the top heroes often ignored them and talked badly about them. Even the likes of All might have been called out for saving those without evil-looking mutations from dangerous areas, something he of course denied, but the public knew it was the case. "So, I'm going to be a hero that saved everyone equally. I will use this power." Izuku turned his arm scally to block the next kick. "And I will be a hero. Yeah, the greatest hero, only because I haven't decided yet, because if I turn hero, you're taking second place." As Inko sat in the house of the Aizawas drinking coffee with Chi-Chi, Mika, and one of the newest members, Lilith Kiyama. I can't believe little Izu has already started talking about what he will do when he is 18. He is just barely 8. Chi-Chi laughed with Inko nodding her head. "He really is determined to become a hero, but I don't know if I should let him, just with all the hate and pain we have to sit through. At least here we're sheltered from it, but out there he will be seen as one." AA gave her friend a soft push. "Don't worry so much. Izuku will be loved. I mean, he is an absolute sweetheart. Oh, and such a cute little face." AA laughed as they looked out in the garden, where Izuku was playing with his group of friends, focusing on making Nemuri, the most recent arrival, a full member of the group. "Hey, Inko, how has business been going? I heard you got hired on a hefty commission." Chi-Chi asked with Inko taking a sip of her coffee and nodding. Yes, they remained anonymous, but they asked for a large painting depicting a new day over the horizon. Weird, but have been working on it. What nobody knew is that who hired her was Nezu, the principal of UA, and the boss of Shota, Aizawa. Aizawa had been a hero for around 15 or so years, and a teacher at UA for 5 years. He was known by his students for being a hard ass that cared. Aizawa was one for true equality, which was rare. Mostly everyone had their own way of reacting to villainous quirks, and while Nezu strived for an equal playing field, that for some was just not the case. But Nezu, being a highly respected hero and principal, wanted to know what the people around him did, and most importantly where they lived. He did have to pay his workers. But it was then that he stumbled across the most delectable artwork, that because whatever reason struck a string with him, they were beyond appealing, and he was unable to understand why. Which for the principal of UA was strange, as not only was Nezu seen as one of the brightest heroes alive, he wasn't human. He was a quirked animal that, thanks to his understanding of everything, rose through the ranks and was even highly respected by the top 10 heroes. So he bought a fair share of Inko's artwork, half because of their beauty and a half because he needed to understand how a mere white piece of canvas with simple colors could create such depth, create such emotion, which caused the hero school of UA to gain quite a bit of new artwork. "Oh, you paint? How wonderful," Nim herself likes to May. "Oh, she should come by. It will be great if you allow, of course." Lilith nodded her head, wanting to ask herself. Namiri wasn't the most open person. "Yo, Izuku, 1-on-1. Rumi said, bouncing her basketball. Izuku nodded their hands. 2 mochi strawberries on Izuku. Ryuko said, placing a bet on how this match would go. "I will raise that. 1 pack of Doritos and a small bottle of Sprite on Rumi." Shino added, seeing it was common for Rumi to challenge Izuku in anything, so common that the group started placing bets on them. Payment would be snacks. The winner would get their snacks back, plus a share of the loser's snack, but depending on the price you put up, meant how much you would get back in work. The work itself wasn't anything special, just chores they had vouchers for. Some chores were easy, like doing the dishes or wiping the floor. Others were much harder, like mowing the lawn and cleaning their room. This meant that Shinso, if he lost, would have to do a small task like cleaning the driveway. But Ryuko would do the bigger ones like taking out the trash for a week. These, of course, were seen as rather enjoyable, as only last week, Izuku took a bet out on himself, being able to defeat Rumi in swimming laps around the pool, fastest 10 laps. He put on 1 packet of chips, but Rumi knew she would win, so putting on a 12-pack of cola cans, a part-sized pack of chips, and a pack of mini carrots. Izuku lost hard. Rumi had been training on her swimming skills, and Izuku had not, which, seeing the difference was so big in price, meant Izuku had to take out the trash for Rumi for a week while also holding her backpack when at school. So for that week, Izuku's 7 knocked on the door, walked in, and took out the trash, all while Rumi and the group watched and laughed. "Oh, Shinso doesn't want the big punishment, such a pages." Mina screamed from the swings. "Put in 2 packs of crackers for me, and put on the green." Izuku stood in front of Rumi waiting for her to pass the ball, which would start the game. It started fast. The second the ball got in Izuku's, Rumi ran forward. Izuku expected this and started off right from the bat, bouncing the ball through his legs, catching it behind his back, and moving left past Rumi. Damn it. Rumi hoped to have stalled him right there, enough to grab the ball and run with it, but Izuku was halfway toward the basket. She knew this first point was lost, but it was the best out of 11. Point 1. Izuku called out as he jumped up high and dunked the ball hard. "I know this. Basketball stuff is set for kids, but that is still super impressive." Shinso said his hair is tied into a top bun by Kyoka, while he himself was watching the clouds to relax. Sure laughed, as Izuku took Rumi's place, doing the same exact thing Rumi did. He rushed her, but unlike her, he made himself big, his arms wrapping forward, closing Rumi's movement off, blocking her from running past him and making an easy point. Izuku was on her tightly, but Rumi knew Izuku just as well as she knew herself. She started acting like she would bounce the ball up high, forcing Izuku to react to her jumping upward, jumping over him, only to go under his arms and straight for the basket, where she was also able to dunk. "Booyah, loser!" She cheered to Izuku, prideful as ever. Izuku gave her the ball as it was his turn. This time Izuku wasn't planning on dunking the ball. It was doable, but that would be what Rumi would expect of him. So as she passed the ball, he took a couple of steps back. "I'm going to shoot, huh? Not on my watch." She rushed for him, jumping high and blocking that line of sight, but Izuku just took a step to the side and shot. The shot for Rumi felt slow as it swished in the basket, scoring Izuku his second point. "You got lucky with that one," cross-eyed SHD. Rumi cussed as Izuku smirked at her. He passed her the ball and stepped back, blocking dunks but not shots, and Rumi, seeing herself as a marksman on the court, laughed, doing a double pass through the legs, a step back, and shot, only for it to fall short and land right in Izuku's hands, who grabbed it and started dribbling. "SHDF, SHD," she screamed as she began running to Izuku, who with a small jump and a soft throw scored the third point, with his turn being next. Ready to lose Duracell. Rumi wasn't happy. The chances of her losing were massive at this point. Izuku again went a step back, planning on shooting. Rumi doing his exact tactic, just with her own spin on it. Izuku shot, and it seemed to miss slightly, only for Rumi to jump up high, reaching over the basket and just smacking the ball away. This is a team match that would most likely give them a perfect shot at scoring a point, but in one-on-one the ball just went to Izuku again, who this time shot perfectly. "Thank for the top-tier pass. Wouldn't have scored without you," Izuku said, seeing he would now only need 2 more points to win the game. Rumi was next up again, not planning on playing even a tiny bit with Izuku. The second she got the ball, she shoulder tackled Izuku, pushing past him and dunking the ball hard, not cheering after doing so, and just staring down Izuku, who still had a smile on his face. "Oh, Bun is not playing around. Will Zuka be able to overcome this, or will he crush under the bunny might?" Himiko spoke in an announcer-type tone as she walked up with a blanket and a bathing suit, planning on getting a tan. "Izuku had the ball this time. I am winning in style," Izuku cockily replied, bouncing the ball as he got Rumi in his face. But just like her, he was going full body. He pushed forward, trying to walk through Rumi, but her powerful legs held steady even against Izuku's dragon strength. Of course, Izuku wasn't as strong as would be. He still had to go through his dragon's sleep, something Ryuko had just recently gone through, now being the strongest of the group. Followed shortly by Izuku, Shishida, and then Rumi. "They're going at it rather roughly," Nemuri said. She had long, dark purple hair, which she used to mostly hide like a veil around her shoulders. "Oh, don't worry, Nimnum. Both are, though, enough to handle it." Mina laughed as Izuku stepped through Rumi, going over her as he jumped and dunked. Rumi fell back on her, but as Izuku powered through her, he was friendly as he offered his hand to get her back on her feet. Not that she took it. "I'm gonna FSHD on you know," Rumi growled angrily as Izuku passed the ball. But as he stepped forward, he was able to tap the ball away. Both weren't under the control of the ball and ran after it, causing the group to laugh at the silliness of the two that just acted like pro athletes. But Rumi got under control again. "Ah, try me shit stain." She rushed him, but Izuku stood strong and braced, bouncing her off and making her fall back, allowing Izuku to grab the ball and run for the basket, where he promised to dunk with style. He jumped and turned around, planning to hit it from the back, which worked. He only got his head banged against the rim, making him fall forward and face-plant into the ground. This got the group to first laugh, only for Izuku to sit up, BLD rushing out his nose as it was broken. This turned the group's laughter into worry. "Mamea!" They all screamed, unsure what else to do. Instantly, all the nearby neighbors rushed out, the entire community caring for all and each of them. Warehouse, they saw Izuku on the floor with a broken and bloodied nose, and everyone ran. Aizawa, who was taking a nap, saw it from his window, and as the hero, he was grabbing a nearby first aid kit and jumped out the window. He rushed to Izuku. "What happened?" Kyoka, while in tears, spoke. Hick. He was playing basketball. Hick. And then he hit his head and fell on the floor. She cried, giving Aizawa what caused it. "She can get an ice back now. Get a car ready. We need to head to a doctor for this to be set." Aizawa pulled out some tissues to clean up and stop the bleeding. "Hey, be a big man for me right now, Izuku. You're gonna be a hero, right? So listen, just look a little up for me and hold this right here. Everything will be all right." Aizawa explained. Inko stepped out of the car, with Izuku following. His face was bandaged up, but it was still visible. he now had two obvious black eyes. The bandages around his nose were slightly bloodied. You know what the doctor said? Izuku, no solid foods. I will make you an extra big portion when you're healed, but for now you will stick to non-solids, so yogurt, soup, and that stuff. Fine, Izuku wanted to pout, but that frankly hurt too much, so he just walked to his room, not wanting to deal with stuff. He really wanted to see his friends, but at the moment that just hurt. They always made him laugh, and when he laughed his nose hurt. So he just stuck to be in his room, hopefully being able to play something on the gaming consoles. But as he was doing that, Inko was making her way to the neighbor's house, knocking twice and waiting. It didn't take long for the door to be opened. "Hey, Ink, how is Izuku? He in a lot of pain." Inko shook her head at Chi-Chi's question. "He acts like it, but the doctor gave him some pain medication, but, could you perhaps call your brother down?" Chi-Chi smirked, noticing the small blush like the friend and little sister she was. "Shoo, your future girlfriend is here." Inko used her quirk to float a small magazine over to hit her in the head, causing her to laugh even more as she walked away. The only thing that increased her blush even more was Shota screaming back. "Inkeo is not my future girlfriend. Now shut up and go back eating, you smelly pig." Hey Inko, sorry about that. "What is it? Need any help?" Inko shook her head. And no, she took a deep breath. "No, I would like to invite you over for dinner." A thank you with Izuku. "Totally not, because I want get to know you better, that wasn't it. Just thank you." Inko blurted out, both only blushing as Chi-Chi laughed loudly from the other room. Well, if you insist, I will happily take you up on that offer." Inko nodded with a smile. "Is 7 okay?" Shota nodded, making Inko smile and run back to her house. "Ships, I still need to clean." Inko started cleaning her already neat and clean household, only to jump in the shower right after. Inko wasn't expecting anything. She didn't want anything to happen yet. She just didn't want to smell like sweat and cleaning supplies during dinner. That, however, didn't stop her from putting on her best and most appealing dresses. A soft lime green dress. It reached a little below her knees. She loved it, and finally, she started cooking. Now asking Izuku this question would result in an instant single question. His mother's cooking was divine, nothing better on earth. But Inko wanted it to taste even better. Aizawa rang the ball at exactly 7. Inko skipped down the stairs, just having given Izuku his soup and tea, but at the perfect temperature that he could eat it yet not burn his mouth, which could hurt him. On time as always. Aizawa gave a breath as a chuckle. "It's illogical to let people wait. Please come in. Dinner is just about ready. Would you like some wine?" Inko said as she stood to the side. "I will have what you will," Aizawa said as he hung his coat up and walked in. He himself had cleaned up Oswell, wearing clean black pants with a tighter black shirt. His hair was washed and combed back, clean shaven, and most importantly, he was standing straight. He walked around the house. First time being inside, this made us notice things. "You like these books?" He pointed at the set of fantasy books about pirates. "Yes, Izuku wanted to watch the movie together, which I enjoyed, and decided to buy the books." Aizawa laughed as he walked toward the table where Inko placed his glass of wine. He sat down and just looked at Inko, who was finishing the last part of dinner. She placed both bowls down and took a seat on the other side of the table. So both took a bite. For Inko, it was a normal meal. For Aizawa, it was as if the flavor god came down and just punched him in the face. "Oh wow, this is absolutely delicious." Aizawa started eating more. While he always made sure there was food in the house, and Chi-Chi always cooked healthy meals for Hitoshi, Aizawa more often than not ate like trash. Best he mostly ate during work was bento from nearby shops, and at home, either microwave meals or cold leftovers. This, however, was the best food he ever had. It was almost as good as his mother's and grandmother's cooking. They ate quickly, but they didn't move. I heard from Hitoshi that Izuku aims to be a hero. Inko nodded. "Yes, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't want Izuku to deal with those angry people, those that hate him for something he can't control." Aizawa nodded. "Humanity just likes being divided. Look at before quirks. Everyone would argue about race and SEC, however not care more about if you have a quirk and if it's any good. It was the sad reality of the world and brought the mood slightly down in the room. But Inko spoke with a smile. I'm just grateful we arrived here. And Izuku got a heroic role model in you. This got Aizawa to cough, not expecting that. What? Oops, it seemed that was a secret. Inko laughed, embarrassed. Please don't tell Izuku, but you're the reason he wants to be a hero. Izuku never had heroes he could look up to. They all hated him. They all caused problems for us, even when we were nearly killed. Aizawa knew that Chi-Chi had told him, but Inko didn't know what hero it was, so he was unable to really act on it. Let's forget all that silliness. That is gone. How about another glass of wine? Inko filled both of their glasses and even pulled out a pack of cards to keep themselves entertained a little bit. But as Inko and Aizawa were having their date together, the other kids were talking to each other. Nemuri, the new kid, asking how everyone got there, and if what happened to her happened to the others as well. So how did you guys get here? Nemuri asked, with Mina speaking up first. My dad moved here after marrying my mom. He always said it was hard to live, and after my mom found out about it, she forced him to move. Then I was born. Rumi, Kyoka, and Tokoimi nodded, it being the case for them as well. Well, my grandpa instead of mom, but overall the same, Rumi said as she snacked on some baby carrots. I came here only 2 weeks after my quirk. My mother found it safest to not test the cruelty of men. Shinso looked out the window as he talked. We came here after my mom left us. My dad wanted me to be safe. Though I wasn't really bullied, was more precaution. Same for us, Shishida and Juzo said, playing checkers together. Much like when Izuku broke his nose, they had been using snacks as bets. Doritos versus Cheez-Its. I did, 6 months before my mom moved us. People were really mean. Yeah, I once had red paint thrown on me. All because I like BLD, Himiko said, adding on the words of Ryuko. Wow, really paint, that is mean. Nemuri was bullied, but never touched or attacked. Most of it was calling her mean words. Most were from the parents. They saw her as some slut. It was part of her quirk that didn't even work yet. When she turned into an adult woman, it started at 15, she would be able to turn people's attraction to her, to boost her quirk, changing it from dizziness in his sleep, it would turn it into a knockout gas. Wow, that is crazy. You all had it horrible. Zuka had it worse. I heard my mom talk about it to my dad after being told by his mom. Mina said, with Nemuri wanting to know what happened. Well, so Izuku had this friend when he was a small kid. He was a little loud and angry, but overall they were friends. But then as Izuku got his quirk, it turned bad. Nemuri gasped. How bad? Mina shrugged. The first day we met him, his ball rolled to us, and he just gave it up. He thought it was our ball now. He didn't even know how to play tag. Nemuri gasped again, shocked at the fact. But so my mom, right? She told my dad that they were nearly killed. I heard my dad talk about that. The house was burned down after they left, apparently. He also heard from some hero that they were shot at Oswell. But he is chill now. Does he get injured a lot? Mina laughed. No, he mostly is a super cool dude. He was the first one from us to dunk the ball. Oh, I see. And he was on the one with the dragon quirk, right? Nemuri asked to make sure she had it correct in her mind. Yeah. Now, let's see if we can do something. Ryuko said, wanting to do something else than sit still. The group turned into better friends as years went past. Right now, they were 12 years old, and Izuku stood outside the window of Mina, who was crying. Mina, talk to me, please. No, you cheater. I am never going to talk with you ever again. You stupid cheater. Mina screamed loudly back with Izuku's head dropping. I didn't cheat. I was just holding her hand. Nothing else, I swear. See, you even admit it. Izuku's head dropped down. Kyoka and Rumi were sitting in the playground, shaking their heads. This is what? The third time Mina has seen her boyfriend cheating. Kyoka laughed at it. Mina had dated Izuku twice now, and Tokoimi once. Both cheated on her in different ways. Izuku first cheated on her by dancing with Kyoka. Then Tokoimi cheated on her by sharing his lunch with Rumi, which happened since they knew each other. Tokoimi didn't like carrots, and Rumi didn't like pickles, so during lunch, they swapped, which was funny for everyone. Mina even laughed about it, but now it was a problem. It was really funny for everyone except Mina, who went on a crying spree because of it, only to be friends a week later. By the way, Ryu, I heard you and Rumi are planning on joining Zuku as a hero. Ryuko shook her head. Not yet sure. Rumi is. She is now joining Izuku every week during training. Oh. Everyone was unsure if they wanted to be heroes, The main drive was Izuku. He was a hero, and he wanted to really improve the world, not by beating villains out of it, but by helping everyone. They sat there for a bit, until Nemuri came running up to them. Guys, big news. She screamed loudly as she ran up. What? Inko and Aizawa are dating. I saw them kissing. Ryuko started laughing loudly, holding her stomach as she was laughing. Nem, they have been for a year now. You really didn't know that yet. WWHA? Nemuri was shocked. Yeah, Aizawa asked her a year ago, just a week before her birthday. Nemuri was so shocked that she fell to her knees. I'm the last one to know. Yeah, you were in fact the last one to know. How I don't know. They haven't been keeping a secret at all. Kyoka said with Nemuri dropping her head in sadness. Izuku opened his eyes. He looked to the side to his alarm. July 15th, his birthday. He turned 15 today. And he was worried but excited. The group would be going outside the city, head to an arcade and movie. It was not something Izuku often did, and even rarer for it to be without an adult. So he sat up in his bed, standing up and dropping forward right away, starting to do push-ups. It was how he started off all his days with a simple workout. 25 push-ups to start, which he was able to do easily, to then move into a set of 50 mountain climbers, which was harder. It then turned into a 5-minute plank with meditation. As he walked out his room, he slammed his hand down on the door next to him, causing Shinso to get out, eyes closed, still tired as they walked down the stairs. Morning, Mom. Both boys said as Inko waved at them, playing 2 plates of food down. Both quickly ate all food, only for Aizawa to walk up. Hey, buddies, dear. He patted both their heads and walked into Inko, who got a kiss. It had been 4 months since they had married each other and 2.5 years since they had moved in with each other. Shinso had quickly started calling Inko Mom. Same for Izuku with Aizawa. Although that was a moment's, Aizawa was sure that during training he was SIR, but during the day or any time else, Izuku could call Aizawa Dad, Pops, anything he wanted. You are both ready for tonight, right? Yes, Dad, we are. Fine. Aizawa walked up to Shinso and grabbed him by the collar. Give me your money. It was a test, and Shinso knew he would need to react. He twisted his body sideways, weakening the wrist. The arm closest to Aizawa moved up and brought his forearm to Aizawa's wrist, turning it down, making it loose, only for one hand to still be stuck, which just meant Hitoshi turned fully, which with a grip on his wrist, turned in a shoulder toss, right through the table, only for both to stop. Good. Smooth moves, Hitoshi, Aizawa said, removing his grip and sitting down as Inko gave him a cup of coffee. Also won't be home. I'll be doing round for Black Arms. I'm going to take a jog. Izuku said, yes, I will wear something else than my sleepwear. He was still wearing just pants and nothing more. He didn't wear a lot. It was sunny. So wearing shorts, running shoes, and a phone case on his arm, he put his earphones in and started running, waving to everyone. Also ignoring the catcalls Mina and Nemuri always gave him in the morning. It was rather impressive how they always came up with new ones. Tonight at 5 at my house, beefcake. Mina screamed with Izuku having a single wave of acceptance. It didn't take long for some of the neighbors came by and dropped off presents and congratulated Izuku on his birthday. Izuku thanked them and talked a little. Just after the afternoon, the group walked in. Hey, buddy. Mina screamed as she ran in and jumped on top of Izuku, who was able to catch her and hold her up. You really like this, don't you? Jump. Mina popped the pea. I can't help it. I want to really know the difference when you finally get your dragon rest. Ryuko already had it and now can press me. Want to know if you can do the same with one arm when it's finally your turn. I just want to know if you will finally outgrow me. Rumi laughed. She was smaller, though she counted her ears, making her the tallest, which was unfair in everyone's eyes, but Rumi had been training hard. She had one of the hardest kicks in the group. Now let's have some cake so we can hit the road. No, can't do that. Mom is still finishing it. And before you try and sneak a peek, Himi, she will attack you with the spatula. This caused the door to stay closed. She could hit people harder than a car with that simple RBB mixer. Fine, so what now? We can't eat, so really what can we do? You can come to the garden and show me if you're allowed to go. Aizawa said, wanting each of them to be prepared. It was the same reason he gave a monthly self-defense lesson, the most brutal and effective form of self-defense. The group loved it, It made them safer even after being hated. Each one did a similar except Mina and Rumi. Mina stepped up and kicked Aizawa in the ball. He laid on the floor, and with a strained voice he spoke. Good kick, though. More foot, less shin next time. It took 4 minutes before Aizawa was able to stand up and walk. He was trained and been kicked in the ball more than he could count. Rumi was last up. She could have kicked him in the ball Oswell, possible break his ball, but that wasn't the case. She just kneed him in the side, then kicked him back. Wait, Izuku hasn't done anything. Izuku laughed as Shinso called him out. Oh yeah, so what do you got in stall for me? I will try my best. Izuku first tried pushing him off, but Aizawa had too much grip. Rather weak. Really going to defend yourself like that? Izuku grabbed Aizawa, once by the collar and once by the hip. Let go. Izuku angrily threw Aizawa, making him fly through the garden and fall in the pool. Wow, Izuku, that was something else. Shinso laughed, only for Inko to finally walk out with the cake. Foot. Himiko screamed happily as Inko placed the cake down and cut everyone a piece. Everyone ate. The cake was tasty. It was a French vanilla sponge cake with jam and WHB cream. They were still talking about it, even when they were in the subway on the way to the biggest arcade in the area. So, birthday boy, what do you want to start doing? Let's start at the alien shooters, which was what they did. 2 simple boxes, a plastic pistol you had to point and shoot. It was great fun, but the entire day was great fun. They ran around doing everything they could find. They had tokens for days, which got them to play everything. When it was 8, they were all headed outside, having played for nearly 2 hours, but right now, they had a movie to catch, one they really didn't want to miss. It was about 2 brothers fighting against the world, an outbreak of a virus turning those effective into bloodthirsty beasts, acting much like smart zombies. These 2 brothers were immune, and it was the first in a turn of 4-part series that the group was really looking forward to. And oh boy was the movie great. The ending was left on a massive cliffhanger. One of the brothers' girlfriends were found and joined their group, only to fall down a bridge as they ran. Let's head to the shop. Might be able to get a drink, to celebrate your old age. As they walked toward the shop, planning on hopefully getting a beer or something like that. But as they walked through a bar area, a man, already far too drunk while it was not even 10, made a comment to Hananuki. Oh, I toothless F, get out of my face before I get sick. Izuku didn't like that. Why? Watch your F-mouth when talking to my friends. Izuku got mad, causing his eyes to turn reptilian. Oh, what villain F, gonna murder me? I am a F hero villain beach. He got right into Izuku's face and started poking him in the chest. Oh, I didn't think a drunk small PP beach boy could make it as a hero. This pissed the hero off an extreme amount. His knuckles started smoking. Watch for tone, villain boy. Next time you open your F-mouth, I will break your teeth in and take you to jail. Hey, watch it. He ain't a villain. Rumi said, growling at the villain. Watch it, Bunny Beach. Izuku pushed him. Don't talk to my friends like that. Once more, and I will press your face in SHD. Izuku now poked him. The hero saw this as an act of aggression from a villain and attacked back. He punched Izuku in the ribs. His fist exploded like a small charge of C4 right on Izuku's heart. The bang rang loudly through the entire area. It caused Kyoka and Rumi's ears to ring and hurt, enough that they had to cover up. Izuku, however, flew back 24 meters down the street, his shirt burned open and his chest bleeding, and burning the punch was hard enough to have caused Izuku's heart to stop. He died right there, and then, Izuku. Himiko ran. The group followed right away, shocked. He isn't breathing. Kyoka said not to hear any heartbeat. They were scared that their friend just died. Move. A pink-haired girl with dreadlocks ran in and started doing CPR, her hands quickly turning bloodied from Izuku's chest. They looked back, wanting to stop and kill the fake hero, only for him to have escaped. The pink-haired girl was able to start Izuku's heart again, but he was not awake. He was still out of it. Tokoyami had called the ambulance and police right away, along with Inko, who called Aizawa and the other parents. Most went right to the hospital, but Aizawa had a different idea. Shinso, how did he look and what was his quirk? Aizawa called his son to explain how he looked. He was a slightly fat, bald dude with a scruffy beard. His quirks were exploding fist or something. 5-5. Shota asked with Shinso, just giving a yes. Stay with Izuku and Inko. I will drop by soon. It didn't take Aizawa 30 minutes to fight the hero. Boomfist was stumbling down an alley, drunk as F. That didn't stop Aizawa from jumping down and wrapping his scarf around his wrist and tying him up. "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" the drunk hero said. Aizawa didn't respond. He just punched the man in the ribs. "I'm the father of the boy you almost killed." "That village," Aizawa punched him in the face. "Now I'm going to arrest you and take you to jail, where you will hopefully be shanked to death for being a hero. But before that, I'm going to get some payback." Aizawa started swinging, beating his rage on the man. Aizawa was training combos, and this man is a dummy. Right hook in the ribs, straight jab to the serum, open palm strike to the gut, left hook to the kidney, high kick against the knee, elbow to the face, straight punch to the nose, and Aizawa ended it by grabbing his head and bouncing on the wall, where he went slack. Aizawa, having removed most of his rage, let the scarf loose, sinking the man to the ground, where he pulled his phone out and called the police. Having done what he needed to do, he waited until the police showed up. Using his status to make sure he went to jail, it helped that his son was attacked. Right then, Aizawa ran, going right to the hospital, where he and Inko spent their time looking after Izuku. It was painful for them to see, but the doctor, one trusted by Aizawa, notified them Izuku's quirk began evolving. Izuku went into Dragon's Rest. Inko did cry loudly after finding out Izuku would have to live with a large star-like scar on his chest, right on his heart. "So, MidoRyuu, when is Izuku going to wake up?" Nemuri asked. The friend group had just walked up toward the hospital room Izuku was still in. "We can't be sure. The doctor said the damage was rather intense. He is only breathing as of now, because of that pink-haired lady that gave him CPR. We can still visit, correct? Of course, Shishida. You're always welcome to visit Izuku. You're all his friends." The group smiled as they followed Inko into the room, where they saw Izuku laying in bed. He had a nightgown of sorts, but they could still see the bandages coming from his chest. He looked a rather peaceful look as he lay down. "Izuku, your friend, showed up. How nice of him, right?" Inko spoke softly. They saw Aizawa in a nearby chair, sleeping next to Izuku. He was in full hero gear. He had texted Nezu for a vacation, not sure how many, but seeing as Aizawa never took any vacation days, and it was a family emergency, Nezu allowed it. He was even willing to make some calls to get Recovery Girl to give him a once-over Oswell as some extra hero patrols. "He really looks peaceful. It's almost as if he is asleep." Mina said, small tears beating in the corner of her eyes. It saddened her deeply seeing her dear friend and even ex-boyfriend hurt in a hospital bed. She hated it, how vulnerable the strongest boy she knew looked. She wasn't alone. Everyone had that shared feeling. Izuku, to all of them, had a special place in their heart. He was a listener, a friend, a sparring partner, a protector. He was everything they needed, yet when they needed him, they just stood there and watched. But each of them from that moment on was sure about what would happen. They were going to follow Izuku and Rumi, and they would become heroes. The fact a scumbag like that would be able to call Izuku a villain and nearly murder him made them sick, just as sick they became when they stood there watching Izuku dying. It hurt them, but they would train, grow strong, and really protect the world. But there was something else that happened within everyone. The girls were sure. Their confused feelings, the same confused feelings Mina had already acted on before, they were now clear as glass. They were in love with Izuku. Each of them knew what they wanted. They wanted a relationship with him, and they would show that to him. The group sat down in the room, just wanted to be around Izuku for a bit. "I heard from your mothers that you all will also try and join UA in a couple of years, Inko asked. She had read in a study that talking to those in a coma could help with their waking up at a faster pace, and she was willing to do it all. As time went by, the friend group left when it turned dark. Aizawa woke up as Inko went home to sleep and make dinner for Shinso. It was sort of the understanding the two of them had. Aizawa would sleep during the day, and Inko would then be around, making sure he always had someone around him, in case he woke up, so that he would never be alone. Back at home, Inko made sure Izuku's room was cleaned. But as each day went by, the time went slower and slower. It felt like entire months had passed, but it had only been 3 weeks. But he wasn't in a coma. He was in his dragon rest. And the group noticed, as Izuku lay still in bed, only being moved to be washed by the nurses. But his muscles became more defined. First, Izuku had rather plain arms, no heavy training that turned them into much, but then slowly they started growing. More visible than before, but it wasn't just his arms, it was his entire body. Inko noticed that the times his bandages were cleaned. Inko noticed his abs grew. He had them before, small, nearly unnoticeable, but most recently they were there. Funnily enough, he also grew. It shocked the nurses slightly as they had to change his outfit twice and add an extra roll of bandages as well as his chest grew. It was an absolute shock to the group. But again, the dragons rest, chance him more. Ryuko and Inko grew stronger, more control, faster, and more primal, but Izuku also grew more durable. It wasn't an absolute shock, as the doctor started having trouble getting the needle through Izuku's skin. The last noticeable change they were able to find was the feeling the animal quirked users got. Rumi, Ryuko, Tokumi, Shishida, and Inko, all three just felt Izuku's presence. A shiver ran down their spine the first couple they saw him during his rest. It shocked them. It was as if they were in a room with a predator, a beast resting. The thought they all shared was that as Izuku would angry, and what that would feel like, how he most likely would be able to defeat certain villains with nothing but a glare, and how he perhaps would instill will and domination over those of weaker-willed than himself. The questions grew with each day. Izuku didn't wake up. I wonder when he'll finally wake up. It's been 6 weeks, 1.5 months now, Shinso said, slightly irritated with the time it had been taking for Izuku to wake up. He hated the fact he was feeling useless. I'm not sure. The doctor said he should wake up soon. Let's just hope it's soon. And as if the gods heard Inko's request, Izuku's right hand twitched, soon his arm moved. And just like that, Inko woke Aizawa up and called for a doctor inside. Izuku had started waking up. It took 15 minutes before Izuku fully woke up. What is going on? Izuku's voice has slightly changed. It had become more rough and brutal. You were in a coma. You have been knocked out for 6 weeks now. How I can't remember what happened. It was my birthday, right? Inko took her son's hand. Yes, baby. It was your birthday. You were attacked. You died for a bit, but you are okay now. Well, what happened to the villain that attacked me? He's gone to jail. He won't ever walk free ever again. Aizawa quickly responded, placing his hand on his son's head. We would do a quick set of tests on you to make absolutely sure you're not in danger. But after that, you will be allowed to go home with your family. Inko happily nodded, and they were allowed to bring Izuku home. He drove in the street, and the group was already waiting for them. Zuku, you're back, yeah. Himiko happily screams as she was jumping happily with Mina, hands combined as they went in circles. The second the car stopped, the group was at the door. The girls pushed each other to the side. I will help him out. And no, I will do that. Excuse me, but as I have dated him, I will help him. That is exactly the reason you are not allowed to help. I will. The girls kept arguing more and more, leaving Izuku stuck behind the door. Girl, while I like the fact you all are willing to help him, he really doesn't need it. And to help him, you need to at least first open the door. The girls all blushed before jumping out the way, allowing Izuku to be seen. But in an amount of shock, they all took a step back. Izuku toured over all of them. Izuku stood at 190, and the limited clothing he wore showed that he was well trained. It wasn't like Izuku had been in a coma for 6 weeks, but more like he had been using steroids and trained for 6 full weeks. They had seen a slight groan, but now freely walking, with everything out in the open, the tight t-shirt, showing his booming chest, his budging arms, enormous forearms, the shorts. Big calves. Izuku looked like a beast. Holy hell, bro, you turned massive, Juzo said with a chuckle. Yeah, not sure why. Guess I needed some rest. Does your chest hurt? Shishida asked, slightly worried, but Izuku just shrugged. It still has a slight irritation to it, but nothing too bad. Izuku softly tapped his chest. Just don't get a big head, lizard. I can still kick you, but if I want to. Rumi said, standing face to chest with Izuku, her soft, fluffy ears tickling his nose. I'm sure you can, Rumi. I am sure you can totally beat my butt. Izuku put 2 hands below Rumi's armpits and lifted her up, and placed her to the side. Sorry, but I'm starving for Katsudon. Rumi was blushing red. You're lucky my MOM called for me. Rumi did not hear her mother, but she was for too embarrassed to stay there. The small but sudden show of power was just a little too much for the rabbit woman to handle. But Izuku didn't notice. He just walked over to the door, but Mina and Himiko jumped on his side. "I will help you." Izuku just kept quiet as Shinso and the other dudes face-bombed. "He has to notice," Shinso said as he followed them inside. Izuku had around 10 times the amount of food he would normally eat. "Oh, Mom, that was great. I am stuffed. I feel as good as new." "Then if you're good with it, come in the yard. I want to see what this rest has done to you." Izuku nodded to Aizawa's request. "Be careful. I don't want any injuries." Inko was worried for all of them, but most for Izuku as he was just out of the hospital. "Just like before, I will grab you and get me off you." Izuku nodded. Aizawa was on his son in a second, grabbing his neck. Izuku, in reflex, just punched Aizawa off. A single-handed move shot Aizawa back through the wooden fence and in the neighbor's lawn. Mina's father yelled, his demonic form releasing the most feminine scream ever heard. "Dad, are you all right?" "I am. Just wow, that was a lot of force." "Sorry, I always tried with all my might, though it seems I got a bit stronger than before." "My apologies, Mr. Ishido. I will fix the fence tomorrow, I promise." He just waved him off, still trying to catch his breath from the spook. "Ha ha ha, I heard it from inside, dear." "You screamed again, ha ha ha." Alice screamed from inside. It was Alice's favorite thing, scaring her husband. She would do it all day, every day. She tried to always. She even paid the kids from time to time to scare him, worth all the snacks or money they wanted. The next day, Izuku indeed fixed the fence, and while it normally was a good amount of effort, now it was barely a test. Placing the plank down, with a single hit on the nail, it was stuck. It didn't take 20 minutes before Izuku was done, so he walked inside. "Izuku, go back and finish the fence. You broke it, so you make it." Inko was sure of one thing. She wanted her sons to be honest and responsible. "I know, Mom. I'm done with it, though. I fixed the entire fence. I promised I would do it." Izuku proudly said, sitting down in front of the TV to watch different shows. As his mom looked outside, she smiled, seeing it was done. This dragon rest will really be useful for house tasks. It had been a couple of weeks since Izuku got back from the hospital, and mostly it was normal. There were still worries for his health, and his mother checked his chest weekly with a constant nagging to keep it clean. Something he understood, but as he got his tired body out of bed, he looked at the clock. 6 o'clock. Like normal, doing his morning workout and walking down for his breakfast, which he had to make himself as his mother was still sleeping. So, just a simple egg fried rice was it. That was all the time Izuku really had before his phone buzzed, showing someone was at the door. Izuku just smiled as he opens the door. "Hello, sir." At the door was Mina's father. He worked together with a nearby construction crew. And Izuku, who wanted to earn a little bit of money, went ahead and asked for a summer job, which he got, getting in the car with him and taking the 45-minute drive. Izuku had around 15 minutes for himself before working, which he almost always spent drinking coffee with the boss's daughter. As he walked into the lunchroom, there she was. Brown hair cut at the shoulder, the tips aimed inward, framing her face, pink, rosy cheeks, and a smile to match. She waved happily as she saw Izuku enter and shoved his cup of coffee forward. "Hey, MidoRyuu," she said happily. "Hey, Uraraka, you're here early." She nodded. Papa wanted to start early, making a layout for the cement walls. Izuku nodded with a smile as he sat down and started drinking. He really connected with Uraraka. Both wanted to be heroes for slightly different reasons. Achiko wanted to make money and people happy, which Izuku respected. Hell, even if she just wanted money. Doing heroics isn't that smart for just money, showing she wanted to help people as well. Izuku just wanted to show what a real hero is to the fakes and beat their asses in the process. It didn't matter if the asses he kicked were heroes or villains, and after telling her the story of his chest wound, neither did she really. But the 15 minutes went past quickly, causing the pair to split up. Achiko moved toward mixing, and Izuku toward demolition. It was his solo job, breaking down walls and such, which he was able to do due to his increase in strength. Putting on his hard hat and reflector jacket, he grabbed his strengthened sledgehammer and walked toward the first wall, spinning his arm a bit before, with a mighty show of strength, he brought the hammer down on the wall from on top. Instantly a hole formed in the wall. He did the same 7 more times, all on the edge of the wall, equal parts spread, 1 in each corner and 1 right in the middle of the sides and tops, before then dropping the hammer and pushing the wall out with his strength. He kept doing it for a couple of hours before he was done with his job. He had already done most of the walls before. Now the last thing to really do was to see what else he was able to do. "Mr. Urarchus, sir, I am done with the walls on south." This shocked the man as he coughed and almost spit his coffee all over the plans. "Oh, what? Already? That was a 4-week job for 3 men, and you did it in a week alone." Izuku just kept up his friendly face. "Well, I'm having early lunch. Then, when that is over, join my wife with the loading of bricks." Izuku nodded as he walked away, going toward lunch where he realized he didn't have his lunch with him. He had it in the fridge at home, and he did not have the time to go home and grab it. While he had an hour lunch, he would need 30 extra minutes alone to get home and back, 15 if traffic was good. He did the only thing he could. He opened his phone and went over to one of the group chat he shared with his friends from home. Misfits Y friend. "Hey, weird question, but I forgot my lunch. Is anyone willing to grab it and hop in the subway and bring it to me?" Blood Princess. "I would totally, but helping my mom, ATM, Soe Bun Gun. I can in the middle of training ATM, so not home." Maybe Mina, I remember her being home. Succubus. "I can totally come by and watch you sweat." "Where lunch at?" Y friend. "Thanks, Nim. It's in a fridge, a couple of containers of food. You are a lifesaver, you know that." Bubblegum. "Didn't, I am too late. I would have loved to come to bring it. I would even feed you." Succubus. "Well, too bad, Pink. I'm already on my way." Equals 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 Izuku turned his phone off as Mina and Namiri started arguing about who would bring him his phone. He had no idea why. They've been acting weird since he got back. Whenever he jogged shirtless and he came face to face with the girls, they either ran away or just stared. It had to be with the scar. Maybe they were guilty that he died without doing anything about it themselves. But they also argued a lot more, mostly revolving around him, and he really didn't get it, but putting his phone back in his pocket, Izuku decided to just close his eyes for a bit until he got called on his phone. Hello, MidoRyuu speaking. Yo, Hunk, which subway was it?" "Oh, hey, Nim. You had subway line E, and then the 4th stop. Should take around 40 minutes. I can't explain how big of a help you are." Namiri laughed. "Thank me with a back rub tonight, haha. See you in 40. She gave a smooch before hanging up, making Izuku laugh as he decided instead of sleeping he would just scroll through the web. 35 minutes later, Izuku stood up and walked toward the subway, explaining it quickly to the boss who understood. The walk was just on time as Namiri walked out, bag in hand. "Hey, Zuzu!" She screamed and ran, jumping in his arms, blocking it easily as if it was nothing. "Hey, Nim. Thanks for bringing the food. You are a lifesaver." "No worries, bae. What do you have friends for?" she said, looking him up and down, licking her lips as she saw his arms slightly bulked up from the work. "Well, CYA," Izuku said, assuming she would go right back home, but she shook her head. "We're eating lunch together. Look." She pulled out a salad. "Or don't you want it with me?" She pouted. Izuku just exhaled with a single chuckle. "Fine. Just let's hurry. Still gotta warm mine up." They started walking back, Namiri hugging Izuku's arm. "Nim, why are you clinging on to me so much?" he asked, being the dense dragon he is. "I don't want to get lost, that is all." "Ooki." Walking together right into the lunchroom, where Izuku started using the microwave right away, wanting his food warm. "Oh, hey, Midori, who are you?" Achiko said, her cheerful face kind of disappearing as she saw Namiri sitting at the lunch table next to Izuku's stuff. "Oh, hey, Uraraka. That is Namiri Kiyama. She's a friend from my street. I forgot my lunch, but she was sweet enough to bring me my lunch from home." "Oh, hi. Nim, this is Achiko Uraraka. She is the daughter of the boss. She is also aiming to be a hero like us." "Yeah, aiming for UA." She sat down on the other side of Izuku. "So, Kiyama, what do you do?" "I'm still studying full-time. Not as smart as Super Zuku." Izuku laughed. "I'm not that smart, Nim, and you know it. I just had a good amount of help from my dad," he said as he sat down between them. He started eating right away, shoveling big parts of food in his mouth as both Achiko and MidoRyuu slowly ate their food staring at each other, as both felt they wanted each other's spot. Izuku, of course, had no idea that both of them liked him. Izuku shoveled the food down as he had never eaten before. "Slow down, MidoRyuu. Don't want to choke now, do you?" With a full mouth and stuffed cheeks, Izuku nodded, slowly eating the rest. It didn't take long for others to join them in the lunchroom. "So, MidoRyuu, those two lovely ladies your girlfriends?" Izuku turned his head slightly. "I mean, yeah, they're my friends and girls, so." Both girls blush. "I got to go," MidoRyuu said with a heavy blush. As she quickly ran out, she quickly told Izuku, "Hey, later," but that was it. Achiko, however, wasn't able to flee. So instead she blushed, brought both her hands up to her face, and accidentally floated herself up to the ceiling, all while Izuku shrugged and kept eating. He didn't understand why everyone kept laughing loudly at him. He didn't understand if he said something funny or just if he missed a joke. But as he finished his food, cleaned the leftover boxes and put them back in the bag. And then he went right back to work. "Miss Uraraka, I was told to help you." "Oh, MidoRyuu." "Yes, I will explain what we will do. You will have to fill those pallets with bricks. Then I will come by with the truck and move them." "Where do they need to be moved to?" "Don't mind that. It's not as if you can lift them." Izuku walked up, grabbed the sides of the pallets, and just stood up. "It's a little heavy, but I can manage." It was around a good 50 kilos, but Izuku was able to lift that with one arm without much trouble. This, however, shocked the mother of Achiko, as she did not expect to see that. "Don't overwork yourself, baby. You don't want to be hurt in the end." "It's fine, miss. I am aiming to be a hero, so I have to get far stronger." Seeing Izuku wasn't going to let down on this, Miss Uraraka just accepted the fact and gave up trying to convince him. But she was able to get him to be careful and stop the second something fell wrong. But as that was going to, MidoRyuu just got out of the subway and was walking toward her house, trying to come up with a plan to make sure nobody stole Izuku away from her or any other girls to join. She already had enough trouble standing out from within the group they had now. She really didn't need or want other girls to just sneak in and steal Izuku. Equals 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 girls group equals 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 purple mist. Girls big problems. Izuku might have a work wife. Ear FTSH. What are you talking about, Nem? Purple mist. When I dropped Izuku's food by, there was this brown-haired girl, his age, and they were super friendly. And like when an old dude made a joke about me and her being his girlfriend, he said yes. Acidic. No way. He most likely just was not thinking and thought he meant a female friend. Buff Bunny. That does totally sound like Izuku. But what about that, Nem? Makes it okay that he said the same thing about you. Vamper. Yeah, it's not like you're dating him. He's into me, not you. Whiffern. Himiko, while you're sweet, he would much rather date someone with a quirk like his. Acidic. As if Ryuko needs a cheerful and fun girl like me and not some boring old lady like you. Equals 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 equals. The group continue to argue about who Izuku should be dating, of course without Izuku giving his opinion on who you want to date. For all those outside of the girls group, they could have told them Izuku is far the F-dance to ever get a hint. Shinso was living proof. He had told Izuku that the girls liked him, only for Izuku to look at him. Of course, I like them too, they're my friends. I'm off to work, Aizawa said as he kissed Inko on the cheek. Grabbing his lunch and a fresh cup of coffee, Inko made him, well, the machine made it for him, but Inko had set up, she was still asleep. It was 4 a.m, but he had a 2.5-hour car ride to take to reach UA. A trip he was more than okay to take. He only worked 3 to 2 weeks a day. It was swapped with Vlad King. Nezu had come to the understanding that a divided class would lose the chance of students learning from each other. So instead of each course having 2 classes of 20 students, each course was its own class with 40 total students. More chaotic, sure, but better for the grades, definitely. But it was Aizawa's turn to work. Monday, his least favorite day. Today, even more so than normal, he had gotten the week's information from Nezu, what he should expect, and what Nezu expected to see. And on Monday, it said All Might, the blonde, oath that was nothing more than pretty words. So now he was going to have to act all nice. Aizawa understood why showing heroes stood behind each other and respected each other meant the students would be able to count on each other well, as it was the norm, but Aizawa hated it because, well, he saw All Might as a fake heroes, not like Boom Fist that acted like a villain. All Might act like a good hero. In front of the cameras, he did nothing that looked bad first off. But then again, he did whatever looked good in the eyes of the media. So Aizawa drove right toward UA, parking the car at 6:30, one of the first teachers there, tiredly walking through the halls until he reached his classroom, then finishing grading the homework and placing it on everyone's desk before pulling out his sleeping bag and hopping inside of it and taking a nap, something he was forbidden from doing at home. While napping was allowed, he just wasn't allowed to bring his sleeping bag with him. If he wanted to sleep, he slept on the couch or in bed. It was something Aizawa had to learn to accept, but he still had it during UA, well, as long as he didn't forget his lunch, causing her to drop by. But now he was napping, waiting for his students to enter, much like clockwork, something he truly respected. MidoRyuu Togata and Tamaki Amajiki. Good morning, SIR. How has your weekend been? Togata, lower your tone, please. Sorry, sir, huh? HISS, sir. Amajiki softly said. MidoRyuu was a fit young man, with bright blonde hair and a big smile on his face. Overall, he didn't look that special. His smile, however, quickly caught people's eyes. His quirk allowed him to phase, to become intangible, untouchable, but it also meant he couldn't see, breathe, smell, touch, or anything. And his friend, Tamaki, a thin boy, longer black hair, combed over his face, almost trying to hide behind it, his ears slightly showing, pointy tips almost like an elf, his back slightly hunched, mostly to make him smaller. His quirk also strong, allowing him to take the property of anything he ate, echolocation from bat meat, wings from chicken, or the thick skull of a goat. But unlike Togata, who simply lacked control, Amajiki lacked something simpler. He lacked confidence. Put him in a room with just a villain that kept silent, and Amajiki was able to fight like a pro. Any other moment, he was able to be taken down by an insult. What can we expect today, sir? More court training? Are we going to jog in our underwear again? PP, please no. IW would rather die. Amajiki said with a whimper at the thought. That workout was just for him, simply to get more confident. It also helped Togata, seeing he already got naked 9 out of 10 times when he used his quirk thanks to his lack of control. No, we will be training with All Might today. He should show up around 1, so before that, normal lessons. The day seemed to be taking years, only for lunch to be over, and it was 1. So Aizawa got his students dressed in their hero costumes and meet him at Gym Gamma, where All Might was waiting. But as the students walked up, they saw nobody. One of the students asked, "Sir, what are we doing here?" "Wait and see, Reizo," Aizawa said with a sigh as he saw it. All Might ran and jumped from a tall building. "Hello, young students," All Might said proudly as the students exploded in smiles and happiness, which for Aizawa meant the longest 3 hours of his entire work life. "I will be seeing you all later, students. Give it your best, and I'll be proud to call you my colleagues." This got everyone very excited and gave each of them a good boost in what would be their studies, but then All Might went away, jumping away, turning into nothing more than a star, only to land behind UA, where his big, muscular body, the chest that was harder than a shield, arms strong enough to lift buildings, legs strong enough to reach near hypersonic speeds, all of that was engulfed into a puff of smoke. That large body, able to shield others from any and all from whatever could possibly harm them. It then turned to show a body, thin to the bone, sunken cheeks, weak and thin, a complete opposite look of the original All Might. This sadly wasn't a fake, a copy, or an imposter. This was the true All Might, one that lost the ability to use his quirk without problem. He was just able to hold it for 5 hours. He jumped into a small 4-seater car, which was the thing he used to get around. Driving back home, the #1 hero, a man who made how much money on just royalties, arrived at his house, a simple house with a small garden, nothing crazy, or even something that would scratch the top of his balance. "I am home. Hey, uncle." A female voice called out from the 2nd floor. All Might waited a bit, as he quickly heard the steps coming toward his location. Down the stairs ran a girl, the same age as Izuku, with black hair, reaching her shoulders tied in a ponytail. and a small mole below her bottom, slightly centered on her right side. She had a sizable bust and a tall stature for a girl. She also had a showable but slight muscular build. And she was the successor of All Might's Quirk, a secret quirk hidden from the public, gifted down from generation to generation, all to those that the previous wielder deemed worthy. Nana was the next one in that line. At the moment, she had the same quirk as her grandfather, who was also the 7th user of One for All. She wrapped her uncle in a big hug, easily lifting him and turning. "I missed you this morning." All Might laughed. "I know, sorry. I will take a quick shower." She nodded. "I will make some lunch, don't worry." He kissed her on the forehead. As he started making the stairs, he had to hold on to the railing. He made it into the bathroom, where he removed his shirt, showing a massive scar, laps of flesh, put together to hold his guts inside, an injury he will never forget or will grow past. An injury he received from his worst enemy. An injury that caused his time limit. 3 years ago, he entered deadly combat with this villain. The battle took 2 entire days. It left the small island where the battle took place, a desolate wasteland, an entire forest, broken and torn from the ground, used to hurt each other. All Might crushed the skull of the villain, killing him, but not without his own pain. His life was cut short, and he knew it, but in his final moments, no matter how many he had left, he kept fighting on. He kept fighting for a better world, a world without villains. It was the same reason he was looking over Nana at the moment. He would be her teacher. He would teach her everything he knew. He would lift her up to reach the next level, the next pillar of peace. He would bring her to UA, follow her there to look over her training. Nana was happy she had the opportunity. From a young age, she heard about her family, her father, a man that died after a villain attack, a man she didn't know, her mother dying as she was young due to sickness. Her father simply had a one-night stand, unaware of the other family she would have had, if not for that one villain attack. It was the reason All Might took care of her. He lost her family. If he was a better hero, that attack would have never happened. "Uncle, the ramen is ready. I added a side of trout and vegetables for us." Nana screamed from the kitchen. "I will be right down. Just a sec," All Might called as he was putting ointment on his scar. It was a special cream made by a recovery girl, the nurse of UA, a sweet old lady that healed everyone with her quirk. Everyone that was able to be healed. All Might sadly was not one of them. He was too injured to be healed effectively. All he could really do was watch what he ate, watch what he drank, and put the ointment on his wound to relieve the pain as much as possible. But having done it for 3 years now, so he was able to do it quickly enough, wearing a smaller shirt and pants as he walked down the stairs into the living room, where Nana was already finishing up her food. "I'm going to go back up, Uncle. I just bought a new game and want to play it some more." "Sure, Nana. You will, however, take a jog with me tonight." "Of course, why would I ever miss it?" Nana smiled, that her uncle at least took his health seriously. He cared for himself, jogging, eating better. They even worked out together weekly. "Now, then, thank you for dinner. I will eat my fill. You enjoy yourself." He patted her head as she ran past, going up the stairs, and went into her room. In it, there it showed some of the money All Might had, a 124-inch flat screen, each in every gaming console, and enough manga and books to make anyone jealous. And a desk, where she had a laptop. The laptop had a game on. A simple real-life online simulator, one she had made her recent friend with, a Japanese lobby, making sure it was someone just like her. This one had made her avatar, a large curvy woman, purple hair reaching the ground like a wedding gown, nicknamed the R-rated queen. "Hey girl, I am back. Had some ramen for dinner." Nana said her account was named Miss Might. "Oh, that isn't healthy." Hi, I know, but had veggies with them, so it was good." At the other end, Namiri laughed. She had met this girl. At first, they argued about her choice of nicknames, Namiri, and disliked All Might, mostly because of Izuku's information on the matter. And Nana defends her option Oswell as asking why such a name for herself, which gotten them to start chatting, which turned each other from enemies into friends, into great friends. Namiri being able to talk with Miss Might about her love life, or lack of love life, and her constant battles with her friend for the crush they shared, and Nana with her worries about fulfilling the heavy task placed on her shoulders by her uncle. "Mom, can I please?" Izuku asked, on his knees, his hands intertwined in front of his head, shaking in front of his face. "I don't know, Izuku. I feel it's scary, and you will just receive pain because of it. It had been like this for around 2 weeks. Izuku had saved up a good amount of money, located a place that would do it for him, and had started a campaign to get a tattoo. Izuku right now was begging his mother for a tattoo. Izuku, I know you want it, but tattoos are things the Yakuza do. Izuku nodded. You won't be allowed in public bathhouses, and you will get a lot of mean looks. Mom, I don't like public bathhouses, and I already get mean glares. Here it's fine. We are here, and at UA, I will already fight against the looks of hate for my quirk, so fighting against having a tattoo is fine. Shota, what do you think? It's illogical, but I have nothing against it. Tattoos are not that frowned upon. But the choice is yours, Inko. I don't feel like I have many choices in the matter. I am just a stepdad. Shota had been adamant about that. While he would give his opinion, he had no right to tell her how to parent, and she had no right about him. Thankfully, both parented the same way, and they had no arguments about it. Fine, 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 you can get the tattoo. Izuku jumped up, wrapping both his arms around Inko and lifting her up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Izuku started repeating as he started spinning Inko around without effort. Inko just had to laugh at her son's action, but Izuku dropped her softly on the floor. Cool, I will be back. Izuku yelled out as he started running to the tattoo shop. The tattoo shop Izuku went to was a messed up one, but he had no choice. Not many people would do the tattoo he wanted. This was a tattoo artist in a back alley. He was extremely skilled. He did it from mental pictures and then printed it on flesh. Most people didn't like him because it hurt a lot. It burned as the tattoo was made, but it only took a little bit of time. Yo, you got the free time? Izuku walked into the back alley tattoo shop, with the man who was sitting back smoking a joint to nod slowly. Yeah, bro. He spoke slowly, showing he was high as hell. Cool, I want that thing we talked about. Were you the unicorn with the swastika as eyes, with a massive PP, with the tip being a sharp? Because as I said, I ain't doing that. And no, that isn't me. Izuku said, quite shocked at the request. Oh wait, it's fine then. The dude said as he pulled out a large piece of paper and a marker. Hey, what you want, bro? Izuku nodded as he walked up and sat down. So, alright, I want a Chinese dragon. It starts out from my chest scar, then it will go down to my side, below my armpit, covering my back, slightly as it wraps around my arm with its mouth reaching my hand. Wow, buddy, I can do that, but that gonna hurt like a mother effer. The dude said, taking a puff of his joint. Izuku nodded his head, understanding it. I know, but I would like it if possible. Sure, buddy, I have tattooed a lot of SHD worse than this, so let's just check what type of SHD you want. The man pulled out his phone, and he started Googling dragon types. This dude is right. Long snake-like, small arms, and legs with no wings. Izuku nodded. Hey, doable, I once did this type of dragon on someone's leg, with the tongue being his PP, hella weird. Izuku laughed at the absurdity. Fine, what about the scale? You want this type or more depth in them? Izuku looked. It was done with a simple marker, a single line, almost kid-like scales, while the second one was drawn in depth. There was more shadow to them. Oswell, as a unique look to the scales, that one, it looks way better. Izuku spoke with a smile. 8, remove the shirt, let's do this, I got a clear picture. The man put on a special helmet that showed his thought on a small display. It showed a beautifully drawn dragon, a light green shade adding some colors to its body. That is it. Izuku removed his shirt, stretching his arms wide, and taking a deep breath as he closed his eyes. The man placed his hands where the tattoo would start, slowly dragging it over the skin. And Izuku felt pain. It felt like there were hooks inside of his skin. It was slowly pulled out, ripped open, and salt poured into them. The dragging of his hand was painfully slow. It felt like it took hours. It, however, just took half an hour in total, which for the size of the tattoo was wonderful. Man, that was like super impressive, dude. In one go without breaks. Hardcore, bro, the man said, nodding his head, as he pulled out a calculator. Izuku, however, had already done the amount in his head and dropped the money down. 70,000 yen, or $505. Izuku had already placed the notes down in front of the man. Cool, bro, fast, huh? Now just for skincare, put some cream on it. And when showing, no chemicals, and for crying, softly dip and rub or else there will be scaring and it will look as HD. I get that. I'll keep it in mind. No rubbing cream. Is that once a day or twice? Once, just don't do it the same time as that shower. and do it for about 2 weeks. My quirk makes it so it takes less time to really heal, but still. Sure thing, man. Thanks for it. Izuku said, putting his shirt on, grateful he chose a loose shirt today. Izuku rushed home, excited to show his new addition to his friends and family. He got rather lucky as the girls were chilling outside, kicking around a soccer ball on the playground in front of them. They quickly turned to see Izuku running toward them, going at a near sprint for everyone else. But for Izuku, it was a simple jog. Yo girls, follow, I got something to show you. They nodded as they started walking toward Izuku's house, Kyoka lifting the ball and placing it under her left arm. They weren't sure what to expect as they stepped into the MidoRyuu household. They would have reacted better if it was a bear, a shark, hell, a murderer. However, it was none of those things. It was Izuku, removing his shirt, showing his toned body for them to see. It caught them off guard, and each of the girls received a blush, except Kyoka, who just fainted right off the bat, not expecting her crush shirtless. Cool, right? Izuku said excitedly as he showed Spun, not having noticed the blushes or the knocked-out Kyoka as of that moment. So why is Kyoka on the floor, and why are you girls red in the face? Izuku asked with an innocent tone, showing even if he had an adult muscular body, his mind was far denser than his muscles ever could be. Inko just smacked her son on the head as she floated her slipper and smacked him while walking to Kyoka to lift her up and get her seated on a chair. Hey mom, what was that for? Izuku asked as he rubbed the spot he was tapped on. It didn't hurt, but he felt a sting as it happened. You will figure it out when you're old enough. Inko joked, making Shinso, Tokoyami, and Shishida laugh as they were playing cards with Aizawa, who also chuckled at the sight. Well, I am 18 years old already. Any older, and I'll be walking with crutches. Still gonna be as dense as a brick, though. Shinso laughed as he dropped a matching card on the pile. Too bad, Mr. Grab 2. Shishida said as he dropped a 2 on the pile, making Aizawa smirk. Draw 5. He placed a joker on the pile. Oh, the darkness has foreseen these possibilities as it gave me a torch to use in the darkest of days. Tokoyami spoke cryptically as always as he placed a draw 2 on top, giving Shinso a draw 9 if he had no protection against it. Sorry, Beast Boy, but back to the kennel. Shinso laughed as he placed a joker on the pile. Both Aizawas had been holding the jokers. But Shishida had one more chance, a draw 2, and instead of the 14 he would have to pull, Shoto would be required to pull 16, but he didn't has any. Damn it, he said softly as he started counting the cards he would need. This was how the day went by. Nothing special happened after the tattoo was shown. But as the next day happened, Shoto like normal woke the boys up. Today would be different, as he would start teaching them real martial arts, which would help them more in a fight than brute strength. Izuku, however, quickly shook it off, saying he didn't need his. He was strong enough to enter UA on his own, and he would learn it there. While Aizawa didn't like this, he understood it and accepted it. Even more so when Izuku brought up the fact heroes should protect, not fight, because if heroes didn't fight, he wouldn't have that scar on his chest. Aizawa agreed. I get that, but fighting will happen, so why not learn now? I just don't see the point. I will be learning all this stuff in UA anyway, so why learn it now? Aizawa just dropped the subject as he went to train with Shinso, one who was happy to learn it seeing he didn't have a fighting ability on his quirk, not like Izuku at least. Izuku, however, didn't spend the day doing anything. He chose to spend it playing different fun sports with the others of the group. Not everyone was a part of the group, as Namiri had also joined Shinso. She might have been able to, just like Shinso, defeat most badasses like nothing against robots, which was UA's entrance exam and had been for 13 years now. Why not joining? I thought Mr. Wanna Be the best hero would train. Like I need to. I can already beat Dad, and we'll get stronger at UA, so why rush it? I do agree with Izuku. We both, thanks to our similar quirks, have an upper hand in combat. Ryuko gave a slight glare to the other ladies tonight, as Izuku nodded, still in the race of who would end up being Izuku's girlfriend. Go deep. Izuku called out to Tokoyami as he went into the form to launch an American football across the park they were chilling at for the moment. He did so just as Izuku threw it. He wouldn't have been able to catch it normally, but Dark Shadow came to the rescue. He himself is seen as a friend in the group. Dark Shadow flew out and caught the ball, giving it back to Dark Shadow. Thanks, Coco. This was the name given to Dark Shadow, seeing they saw him as his own person and not just as a quick. It meant Dark Shadow and Tokoyami worked together a lot better. Hey, I've been wondering something. Izuku asked as he caught the ball back after a great throw from Tokoyami. Oh no, what? Do you think Nim has feelings for Shinso, seeing they have been so close? Hell, they're even training together at the moment. This nearly caused the group to facepalm without wanting to. It caught them so off guard. And as they thought about it, how Izuku could have possibly thought of this outcome, they had a laugh. Whenever Shinso and Namiri were together, it was because Izuku was there, Shinso being there with his brother, and Namiri following her crush. Hell, Namiri was training now, so she could follow Izuku toward the same school. Damn, you're dense, Shishida said as he took the ball from Izuku to throw it back and forth, leaving Izuku in confusion, wondering why everyone was laughing at him. Hurry up, Slowpoke. The train is about to head out. Mina screamed loudly at Izuku, who just scanned his card and started walking up the stairs right to the train. I know, Mina, just chill. Izuku finished as he walked toward them, seeing his group waiting for him. They sat down near an area that was big enough for all of them. I just don't get why I wasn't allowed to sit on your lap. It's not that bad. Mina pouted as they walked toward Yue. Izuku, standing taller than all of them like always. They walked right toward Yue. Each of them was well trained for this moment. You better kick, but in the recommended exam, or else I'll tie you to the goddamn tree. Izuku told Juzo, who would be the only one taking the exam, thanks to an uncle of his. The rest didn't really get the chance, as those that were full-time teachers at UA were unable to recommend students, as it gave an unfair advantage when they voted. Juzo would still have that, but it was a loophole of sorts. Yeah, you just try your best and not finish last, Lazard. Izuku pushed his shoulder softly, as if I am taking the top spot without effort. This earned Izuku a punch to the shoulder, as if I will stomp your butt in the earth and take that spot myself. You could be just below me. Rumi growled, staring up at Izuku, who just chuckled as he lifted his arm and started ruffling Rumi's hair before walking further. As he walked, many others gave him a stare, and he understood. He was their biggest challenge, one they were not going to overcome. Let's head inside. Hanging around here is just for scaredy cats. This received a lot more stares from the ones hanging outside, mostly to indeed gain the courage to head inside. But he was, however, stopped. Ichiwai, MidoRyuu. Izuku looked back with a smile, waving back at the person taking a jog toward them. Hey, Uraraka, long time no see. Ready for the exam? With a cheerful smile, Achiko nodded her head. I'm super ready, gonna give it my all, and hope I pass, Achiko said as she started looking around the group. Oh hey you, sorry I forgot your name. Achiko said, her smile dropping a slight bit as she saw Namiri, as well as the other ladies that were clinging onto Izuku, so to speak. I will introduce you inside. Let's go. As Izuku started walking, the group followed him, with Izuku introducing the group to Achiko. As Izuku had expected, they were one of the first ones in the auditorium. Let's sit here. Izuku pointed toward a corner that was pretty empty, but close enough so they could hear whoever gave the presentation. And right as they were seated, the group talked a bit, but mostly they were scoping out the competition. Izuku took note of some students. A pretty tall woman, at least taller than most of his female friends, that looked well-trained walked in and chose a seat right in the middle of what seemed like strangers, showing she was confident and wanted to learn. Same for a well-built kid with glasses, his hair combed neatly to the side, but a little messy nonetheless, showing he might have rushed to be here. He was a broad build for sure, with what looked like engines sticking out of his calves. Each step he took looked to be by the book. A large man, extremely well-trained, spiky hair with thicker lips, his build alone making him stand out. He was hanging around a group of pretty loud guys, one with bright yellow hair and a clear black lightning bolt in said hair, which Izuku found funny, and kind of wished to find out if it was done with dye or just since BRTH. A dude with black hair was uncombed, but the group was loud. Countless more people walked in, yet nobody gave Izuku a feeling of worry. Each seemed to be rather underwhelming. The only one that gave Izuku an unsure feeling, light blonde hair, sort of exploding from his head. A growl-like grin on his face, his hands in his pocket, and he looked bored and irritated. Izuku didn't know what it was, but there was something about that dude that fueled something in Izuku. It was like a mixture between worry and rage. Something that caused Izuku's dragon to activate and give those around him the feeling of impending doom. Only stopped as Shinso tapped him on the shoulder. "Yo, Izuku, what's up?" Izuku gave an apologetic smile. "I can't really be sure. Just something about one of those guys that pisses me off like nothing before." The group didn't understand it, but it wasn't like they saw what Izuku saw or like they had much chance to think about it as the presenter walked out. Wearing leather pants with a leather jacket, big leather boots. The collar of the jacket was aimed up, slightly hiding a metal-like speaker around his neck. A nice pair of orange-tinted downward triangle glasses hid his eyes, with two small patches of hair on his upper lip as a mustache. The final thing, and by far the most noticeable, was his hair, bright yellow hair, styled upward. The hair was at least the size of the man's own torso and in a spiked tuft. He had a smile on his face and a microphone in his hands. "Yo, yo, yo, it's your boy, Present Mike, coming at you with the explanation of a lifetime, making yo chants at UA skyrocket like my albums." He spoke loudly and with an immense amount of confidence, mostly trying to cheer the students up and ease them for the exam. Can't be too worried about your exam when laughing at the energy of a weirdo. A title Present Mike wore with gusto. "Yo, so let me spit some SHD real quick," Present Mike said, holding the mic from the side. "So check it. You were given some cards right before y'all enter the building. On that card, it has some information written down, yo. Just like the paper in form of you has some information written down, Oswell. Y'all can read it, but I can also just spit that here and now." Present Mike walked around, which really eased the worry of some students with a chuckle. "So first look at the letter on the card. That letter will show you the classroom you will need to enter for a small quiz. This worried the possible students slightly, but that was due to the shock. While heroics is about the muscles you got, the most important one is the brain, yo. So we got to test you at least. But that's easy for y'all. Then you will head out on a bus with your class to a design examination site. There the real fun will start, yo." Present Mike said with the students already had a feel for what would be the real fun, and it was showable by the commotion. "Man, this exam is going to be a piece of cake, just robots," Izuku told the group as he had just finished reading the piece of paper placed in front of him. "I hope I will do good," Achiko softly said. "Just float them up high and let them drop easy points." Izuku encouraged her. "Shoo, he's talking about the robots." Namuri shushed them as she wanted to hear what they were able to do. "All right, in the exam, there are 3 robots." "Excuse me, sir, I have a question," the dark blue-haired boy said as he stood up straight with his arm pointing right at the ceiling. This caught Present Mike off guard as he was still speaking. "Sure, listener 7,777, what you got? You stated that there are 3 robots in the exam, but on this paper it is clearly show 4. Does this mean you made a mistake in the print or the explanation? And if so, that is extremely unprofessional. You at UA should strive for the best. And if we have TO do our best, we will need all the correct information." The blue-hair boy then did a turn, right for Izuku and his group, pointing his finger right at them. "Stop the talking. We are here to listen to what is said and not converse with each other. If you want to talk, you should just leave and give your spot to those really aiming to be a hero." Izuku smirked. "Better spot pointing before I shove that finger where the sun doesn't shine. And you're more disruptive than I could ever be. If you were as stuck up as you were, you might have recognized Present Mike was still explaining the situation where you could just read the DMN paper instead, wait for what he says, and complain afterward." The room was quiet. Neither student nor teacher wanted to speak. Even at the teacher, it was quiet, well, except for some. First was the principal of UA, the smartest animal in the world, given a quirk thanks to experimentation. But then again, he was a special type, an animal created from other animals, making people often guess about his true identity. A rat, cat, dog, or even bear was often guessed. Next to him were his 2 oldest friends. First, a sweet old lady, walking with a cane and a doctor's coat, recovery girl. And an equally short man, also with a cane, but instead of a cane that looked like a needle, this one simply looked like a normal cane. He was wearing yellow spandex suit with a body-sized cape and wider boots. Overall, just like Nezu and recovery girl, he was short, tallest of the bunch at 120 centimeters, Recovery Girl at 115 centimeters, and Nezu shortest of all at 85 centimeters tall. They were laughing just like Aizawa was. Present Mike, however, wasn't laughing, but he wanted to. He loved burns, and that was a pretty decent one in his eyes. Yeah, I was just getting to that. He said, trying to get all eyes focused on his once more. So like I said, there are 3 robots that will earn you points when you destroy them. First, you got the one-pointer. They're these one-wheeled robots that got 2 large arms it uses as shields. Just watch out when they rush you. We named them Victory. Second, 2-pointer dubbed Imperial. These are scorpion-like robots. They're able to fire off small lasers. Don't worry, they just feel like a punch. Still, they clear off them unless you want a couple of bruises. Present Mike looked over and saw everyone was still paying attention. Then the third robot is worth 3 points, with the nickname Venator. And these ones are big, bulky robots. And while you might think walk around and attack freely, the ones got missiles that will pack a mean punch. And don't get too close or you might get squashed. Present Mike slammed his hands together, adding a bit of shock to the group, but it did nothing more than excite Izuku slightly. Perhaps they would be fun to tear apart. Then we got the final one left, its name, the Executor. This name brought fear to most. Now look, this thing is like massive, taller than all the buildings, and incredibly strong. So just stay clear from them. It's nothing but a hurdle that will give you nothing but trouble. Seeing they're only worth 0 points, it will just take more time up than you got. So focus on the smaller fish. Now, then, that is all I've got to say. I will just wish you good luck, and let's watch you go plus. Present Mike hoped everyone would pitch in and they would loudly say UA's well-known motto. But either the nerves or their lack of joy stopped them, leaving Present Mike alone. Ultra, he yelled defeated before waving the students off to their classroom. Thank you for joining us on this journey through What If Deku Had Powerful Dragon Quirk. We hope you found it as captivating as we did. A big thank you to GiovanniPolder for creating such an engaging story. Don't forget to visit their profile on Wattpad for more fantastic works. The link is in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Zenin Fanfics for more intriguing explorations into fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this, and we love hearing your thoughts and suggestions in the comment section. See you soon in the next video.